presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
City of Chicago is one of the great sports towns in America, and right now Chicago has a team on the north side with the best record in the National League, and the team on the south side has the best record in the American League. Tonight, the first of three between the Twins and the Chicago White Sox. A lot has changed around Ricky Nolasco in the Twins rotation. He's been their best starter this year. Matt Latos, one of several outstanding starters for the White Sox so far this year. And we welcome you to the south side of Chicago in a day of turmoil for the Minnesota Twins. The 8-20 record, not satisfactory for you fans, not satisfactory for the front office. So some changes have been made.
Certainly have been, and it's like Paul Molitor said, it's to help this team get on track. They're searching for it. John Ryan Murphy was sent out to Rochester today, along with Ryan O'Rourke, J.R. Graham, and Darren Mastroianni was brought back up with Juan Centeno, and Irvin Santana reinstated from the DL. He will pitch tomorrow's game here at U.S. Cellular.
And a couple of relief pitchers put on waivers. There may be more changes tomorrow, and the assumption is that unless the Twins play better baseball, even more changes will be forthcoming as the Twins hope to recover from a terrible start. They have the worst record in the American League. The White Sox have the best record in the American League, largely because of some outstanding starting pitching, and the Twins will get a full view of it this weekend. More on that in a moment. Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. For the everyday competitor in all of it. It feels like summertime in the south side of Chicago, and tonight the opener between the Twins and the Chicago White Sox. And the Twins facing a White Sox starting staff that has been outstanding, as is the case with the Cubs on the north side. 18 wins from the starting pitchings. They're doing it with outstanding starting pitching and are supplemented by a really nice bullpen as well, as we welcome you back to U.S. Cellular Field. And a lot of the starters for the White Sox are familiar names and faces, but there's one newcomer, Matt Latos, whom the Twins will face tonight, who's been outstanding. In fact, all three starters that the White Sox are sending at the Twins in this series have been very, very good.
Yeah, the big three for the White Sox, and the Twins are going to see all three of them in this series. Matt Latos taking the mound today. He's 4-0. Sales unbelievably off to a good start, and then Quintana will pitch on Sunday, and combined they're 14-1 with 90 strikeouts. So these guys are getting the job done. I think it's because of a better defensive team that the White Sox are putting on the field, but the Twins certainly are going to have their hands full with this team in Chicago.
Don't expect that the Twins lineup's going to score too many runs against Matt Latos. That'll put a little extra burden on Ricky Nolasco.
Well, Ricky, you know, he hasn't lost yet. That's the good news, and he has been the most consistent starter for the Twins, and really one pitch away from really having a good game his last time out. That pitch, a home run ball that made his numbers look a lot worse than they really are.
Castellanos hit the final pitch of the game for Nolasco as a 3-run home run. The Twins hoping to get production from Joe Mauer. He's reached in every game this year. Typically hits very well here on the south side of Chicago.
I love playing in Chicago. I love the city. You know, and the park's been updated. It's nice too.
Small ballpark, not for pitchers. Keep the ball down.
Not a big fan of that field. Don't know why. I get the backdrop kind of throws me off a little bit.
Actually, that's one of my favorite places to play. It's a great hitter's park, and I always like to silence some of those Southsiders.
Well, the Southsiders silenced the Twins in the 3-game series at Target Field. The White Sox swept the Twins, and in the series, the Twins never so much as had a lead. Low-scoring games, the White Sox won them all, and Paul Molitor hoping that the shakeup on the roster will lead to better play. Menard's batting order, minus Brian Dozier, who's got a little bit of a hamstring issue on the right side. The hope is he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow. So tonight, Santana, Nunez, Mauer, Sano, Plouffe, Park, Arcia, Suzuki, and Escobar.
And the Twins will face the right-hander, Matt Latos. He has been a very pleasant surprise, I think. They expected good things out of him, but maybe even getting more than they expected. 4-0 this year with a 1.84 ERA, making his 6th start. And he loves pitching here at US Cellular.
A little conference between the third base umpire, Brian Knight, first base umpire, Bill Miller, about something. And I have no idea what this is about, but we've got a bit of a delay. I'm guessing it's something grounds related. Tarp is covered. Todd Tishner behind the plate. Miller is the crew chief. Holberg at second. Knight at third. And so we will have a little bit of a delay here. The Cubs, as we mentioned, Paul Molitor being given an explanation, and we understand there's something going on in the crowd behind the White Sox dugout. We don't know if it's a medical emergency or what have you. So they're tending to that right above the camera there. The Cubs last night opened up a series against the Washington Nationals, while last night the White Sox ended a series with the Boston Red Sox. And as odd as it might seem, there were 4 first-place teams playing here in Chicago last night. And now Robin Ventura will come out, and it would appear that a fan is in some distress behind the camera well there, and so we're going to wait and see what the remedy is for that.
An unusual way to start a game, but must be enough of a distraction over there that they want to make sure that everything's taken care of the best that they can. The one thing we do know is that we couldn't ask for a nicer night here in Chicago.
We were
all
given
the years that I've come to Chicago. We've had warm days, but they usually had wind, and we've had cool days that usually involve wind. But to have a nice evening with very little wind, it just continues from our series in Houston where the weather was beautiful.
We had extraordinary weather there. We have it here. So weather-wise, this has been a great road trip. And in terms of wins and losses, and that's all the fans truly care about, it has been very disappointing to the point where the Twins are in a state of flux with the roster. And the Northland Ford defense for the White Sox: Melky Cabrera in left, Austin Jackson in center, Adam Eaton in right. Todd Frazier's been a great addition to the infield, so is Brett Laurie. Tyler Saladino at short, Jose Abreu at first, and Deoner Navarro behind the plate. Alex Avila, who was signed from the Detroit Tigers as a free agent, is on the disabled list with a hamstring injury. The delay was for a fan being helped, carried from the field on a stretcher through the camera well, so there was access to the field needed for that. So that's why the delay. Now we're ready to go. Danny Santana will lead things off. Eduardo Nunez, Joe Mauer, the batters here in the first inning against Matt Latos. And the first pitch outside, ball 1. Latos pitched against the Twins at Target Field in April. 6 innings, 1 earned run on April 14th, and of course a win in the process.
Latos is one of those guys that's not going to blow you away with any high heat or anything, but he is deceiving a little bit. His fastball you see there at 92, 91 on the first pitch. He throws a breaking ball and a changeup, so he's a guy that will change speeds and mix the ball around the strike zone and try to get you off balance.
1-1. And now 2-1. Latos, 3 years with Cincinnati, started last year with Miami, went to the Dodgers, went to the Angels, and all in all had an awful year last year. The White Sox were able to get him for 1 year and $3 million. 3-1 now to Santana. There is this in his last start, as good as he's been. In his last start, he had a rough one against the Orioles. Gave up 11 hits in 5 innings, 4 earned runs, and a couple of home runs. 3-1 to the Twins leadoff batter. And Santana may have chased 3-2.
He's a guy that doesn't have the real good bend in his back to finish the ball off, a lot like Phil Hughes. only more overhand than Phil. And the balls are going to tend to be up if he misses it all.
High pop up behind first. Laurie puts it away, and Santana's retired, 1 away. And that'll bring up Eduardo Nunez. Nunez getting the start at second base and in the second spot in the batting order. When Trevor Plouffe came off the disabled list, Paul Molitor said he was going to try to find a way to keep Nunez's bat in the lineup since he's consistently hit all year long. And when Brian Dozier came up with a bit of a hamstring strain in his first at bat in Houston 2 nights ago, it was a perfect opportunity to give Dozier a day off and put Nunez in his spot. Strike on the outside corner.
I think it's fair to say that Nunez is probably a little bit stronger on the left side, on shortstop, third base side of the infield than he is at second base. He's got a stronger arm for that role, but in this case, Paul Molitor is trying to get the best bat in the lineup that he can, and Eduardo Nunez has played some second base. He has filled in for Brian Dozier in the past.
1-1. And a strike called with Nunez leaning into the pitch and then having to push his hands back to avoid being hit. It's 1-2. We've seen managers do it in advance of an off day, and the Twins hope it's nothing more than giving Dozier an extra day tonight after the off day yesterday, and hopefully the hamstring will feel much better by tomorrow. It's a chopper back to Lakers. 2 down. And that'll bring up Joe Mauer, and tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. The most consecutive games reaching base to start a season. Kent Hrbek still holds the record, but Mauer so often, Jack, in his first or second plate appearance, extends his streak. We'll see what he does here in the first.
It's been a pretty impressive streak for Joe Mauer, and he has probably the best average against Matt Latos. Now, a lot of these guys haven't seen him very often because he was in the National League with the Reds. Joe Mauer, in that first time facing him, went 1 for 2, so at 500 against Matt Latos.
Latos gave up just 3 hits to the Twins over his 6 innings. Strike 2. Several off-speed pitches. Mauer taking. Go with a .630 on base percentage in the first inning. 1-2. And when he's fallen behind 0-2, it's pretty much a toss of the coin whether the count will get to 3-2. Teams get ahead of him, and then it's like they try to get him to chase. And good years, bad years, Joe's never been one to expand the strike zone too much.
That's crazy. You just talked about his numbers in the first inning. The problem with the Twins is the guys in front of him haven't got on enough. Yeah. They're not setting the table for Joe.
Into the shift with the shortstop Saladino lined up almost behind the bag. And Latos has a 1-2-3 first inning. Ricky Nolasco takes the mound for the Twins when we come back. West lost the season series to the Twins, finished 7 games behind them in the standings, and Robin Ventura felt a little bit of heat last year. And now everybody loves Robin Ventura and the White Sox again because they're winning. 19 wins already for Chicago. Here's the Menards batting order for tonight's series opener. Adam Eaton leading off, then Austin Jackson, Jose Abreu, Todd Frazier, Melky Cabrera, Brent Laurie, Avisail Garcia, Deanna Navarro, Tyler Saladino, and a first pitch strike from Ricky Nolasco.
Numbers for Ricky this year is yet to lose a ball game. Had some pretty impressive averages against him in the lineup tonight. There's 5 guys in the lineup that are near 400. Abreu, Cabrera, Garcia, Laurie, and Navarro all hitting at or above 400.
Breaking ball around the plate, and it's 2-1. Eaton is off to a great start, not just at the plate, but in the field. With the acquisition of Austin Jackson, Eaton's become a right fielder and a very good one. Tap to the right side, and Nunez has the easiest play a second baseman can have, 1 down. And that'll bring up Austin Jackson. The Twins out in the field with Arcia in left, Danny Santana in center, and Miguel Sano in right. Bloof, Escobar, Nunez, Bauer the infielders, and Kurt Suzuki behind the plate.
Again, Paul Molitor kind of forcing Oswaldo Arcia to be playing because he's hitting a lot better than Eddie Rosario, so he's out in left. Everybody else pretty much the same except for Nunez playing second.
I think the message, several messages probably, but one of them to the players, based on the roster moves made, patience has run out. And what the hope is, the ball lifted foul and out of play, that the players will have run out of patience as well.
I think the real message is we're not going to allow complacency to set in. That you have got to realize we're not going to accept this. This is not where the Minnesota Twins want to be. You know, they can say that verbally, but they've got to feel that inside of themselves. And by making the changes that they've made, and maybe more to come, it's just a reminder to everybody that they could be next. Nobody's immune to this.
Strike over the inside corner, 2-2. And if you're Eddie Rosario and you're off to a slow start in your first full year, time to get it going, because as you said, you might be next. Darren Mastroianni is here.
2 guys that weren't here. Tyler Duffy to his left.
Check swing, and now it's 3-2. The veteran Jackson signed late with the White Sox. They were looking for a center fielder, and again that moved Adam Eaton to right field, and everything has worked out well. Figure Jackson eventually will start swinging the bat better than he has so far this year. Full count. And inside, Nolasco issues a walk, puts a man aboard for Abreu.
I just really believe in having solid defense as your #1 priority in a baseball team, and that's what the White Sox have done here. Austin Jackson, we just talked about not getting off to the kind of start that they had hoped him to, but defensively, he plays every day. He does the things you're supposed to out there in the outfield every day. And what he can bring offensively is a plus, because guys like Abreu and Todd Frazier, the guy on deck, are going to mop up some of the stuff that you know, other guys aren't hitting well at this time of year.
Abreu goes after a pitch up high, a fastball, 1 strike. Abreu's number is pretty modest, yet he's driven in 19 runs, hitting just .243.
He's 3 for 8 lifetime against Ricky Nolasco at a .375 clip.
Inside corner. Those numbers accumulated while Nolasco was suffering through 2 awful seasons. His first 2 years with the Twins, injuries played a role, we know that, but Nolasco at no point put together the type of month or so that he's put together this year. He's given the Twins a chance to win every time out. Swing and a miss, and Abreu's gone on 3 pitches.
That was a good breaking ball right there. A good sequence of pitches for Ricky. He went away, he came back in, and then he dropped the hook down in the zone, got him to expand right there. So he pitched Abreu really well in that series. Kurt Suzuki doing a good job of keeping that ball in front of him.
The shortest start for Nolasco was his last start But he had a good game going until his last pitch was hammered into the seats by Nick Castellanos, a 3-run home run that tied the game. Here's Todd Frazier. And Frazier, a big acquisition when you acquire an all-star in his prime, which is what Frazier's been. His first all-star game was at Target Field 2 years ago. His ball wrapped to short. Dropped by Escobar, and too late to get the force at second. Another error for the Twins, and there have been too many of those for Escobar. His 5th error and the team's 20th.
We talk a lot, and I'm not pointing fingers at Escobar, whether it's Escobar or somebody else making an error. But early in a ball game, a guy makes a pitch, he gets the ball hit on the ground, and he expects to walk to the dugout. His inning should be over. So every pitch from this point on is something that shouldn't have to happen. And nobody feels worse than Eduardo Escobar about that right now. But unfortunately, Ricky Nolasco is going to have to reload and try to focus and get out another guy that's hit him very well, and Melky Cabrera.
9 for 22 with a home run. Hitting over 300 from this side of the plate. Nolasco starts him down low, ball 1. A 1-out walk, a 2-out error. And now 2-0 to Cabrera. Laurie on deck. Last night, White Sox had an awful game against the Red Sox. They lost it, but they took 9 walks, and none of the 9 guys who walked scored. So right away here in the first inning, Nolasco's walked one, might be on the verge of walking another. And a strike at the knees, 3-1.
He certainly doesn't want to put on Cabrera here. He's got to go after him. You don't want to have bases loaded to start the game.
That's to left center field. And it'll score 1. And it will score 2. A double by Cabrera. And the error leads to at least 2 unearned runs.
Just what I was talking about there. You're forced to throw extra pitches to a guy that's hit you very well. Melky gets to a very good hitter's count and then gets the fastball out over the plate. And he just goes with it. He doesn't try to do too much. Hits the ball in the gap. He doesn't run all that well, but Danny Santana and Oswaldo Arcia have to run that ball down in the alley. And Todd Frazier lumbers around second base and third base to score from first.
And now Brett Lawrie. Wherever he's played lately, Lawrie has hit Twins pitching well. He brings a 14-game hitting streak against Twins pitching into this at-bat. Off the plate, ball 1.
Brett Lawrie was with the Toronto Blue Jays for most of his career, and he went back and forth from second to third. Played mostly third base, but the organization believed that his true position was second base. And now coming from Oakland, where he played third base, he's playing second base because Todd Frazier has anchored the third base spot. So there's a lot of people think Brett Lawrie is most comfortable now playing where he is for the Chicago White Sox at second base.
1-1 to Lawrie. Now 1-2. And now the 23rd pitch of the inning by Nolasco. Half swing. The inning should have been ended by about, what, pitch 15. The error has given the White Sox 2 runs. The ground ball to Escobar was actually the 14th pitch thrown by Nolasco. So at least 10 more here in the first inning. And there's a strikeout. The inning ends. For the Twins, they have allowed 2 more unearned runs, now 17 on the season. And the White Sox take a quick 2-0 lead.
Heading into the second here in Chicago. After the ugly loss in Houston, Paul Molitor said he hopes every guy on this roster is taking that 8-20 record personally and really looking at what they did to get this team there. So today I asked if these roster moves today were a way to send a message to his team. Now, Paul Molitor said it doesn't have anything to do with sending a message. It's just about doing what's right for this team. And he hopes that it doesn't take roster moves to get his team motivated to make it through the next 130 games. Now, he also did admit that he knows he probably made things a bit uncomfortable and tense out there. Case in point, Casey Fiend and Tommy Malone, who are in the bullpen and dressed in the uniform of the team that just put them on waivers. Guys, tough situation.
Well, thank you, Audra. And it's curious how word leaked about that. And it's unfortunate because it is a weird situation. And it used to be that you could put players on waivers, and then when the waiver period expires, as it will tomorrow at, I believe, 1 o'clock Central Time in the afternoon, then things would become public. There's a strike on the outside corner, 2-1. But Casey Fiend and Tommy Malone are very much a part of this team. But tomorrow at this time, Tommy Malone could be property of the Los Angeles Angels, just to pick a team out of thin air. There's a pitch up, 3-1.
Yeah, I think it's important to remind fans that over the course of a career, most players are put on waivers more than once. Everybody goes on waivers, but teams keep it quiet. And a lot of times it's just to see what kind of interest is out there for that player and whether or not they've over-evaluated maybe, or they're just trying to see what their value might be on a market. But typically players never hear about it, and it goes unnoticed. Now in this case, it's my understanding that if a team claims either one of them, that they're gone.
Yes,
they're with that team, and they can't pull them off waivers like they can later on.
So no fouls at back. That's the difference between revocable waivers and the irrevocable waivers. So no, with the foul, it's 3-2. Plouffe and Park will follow. Popped up, back, and out of play. All right, I didn't just pull the Angels out of thin air. They lost their ace starter today. News came that Garrett Richards will almost certainly need Tommy John surgery. He's going to get a second opinion, but that's our Sanford Health injury report. The Angels are going to really miss a guy they were really counting on this year.
It's hard to replace an ace, no question about it. This guy's been a workhorse and a very good pitcher for the Angels. So they're going to be out looking for somebody. They've got to get back in the race themselves.
3-2 to Sano, leading off the Twins, second inning. Clobbered to the left field corner and foul. Sano battling, and we've seen Sano's batting average fairly steadily climb. Still with 3 home runs. He's gone a couple weeks without one. Ninth pitch of this at bat coming up. If you do the math at home, that means there have been 3 two-strike fouls. Swung on and miss. Sano strikes out to start the second inning.
Those are pitches that you can't miss at the big league level. You're a kid that can hit the ball so far that it looked like he took a swing that was a little more intense than he needed to. A ball that all he has to do is make contact.
See Jordan Zimmerman, the Twins have seen him. Matt Latos is making his second start against the Twins this year. We haven't seen Walker of the Mariners yet, but so far those 3 pitchers doing a great job, pitching much better than they did last year. Here is Trevor Plouffe. Strike on the outside corner.
Trevor's still looking for his first hit since coming off the disabled list a few days ago.
0-2. In the dirt. Twins, of course, have not had very good success bringing pitchers over from the National League. An assortment of names have gone through the Twins starting rotation. Correa, Pelfrey's, Asco, so on and so forth. But here, Latos seems to have stepped into essentially a different league, although he pitched briefly with the Angels last year and had great early success. 1-2. Given what he did last year at 3 different stops, a lot of people in baseball are surprised that he's pitched as well as he has.
There's certain things that kind of are hard to predict, and Latos having a good year, a pleasant surprise for the White Sox, but a lot of people in baseball just surprised, period, that he's doing as well as he is early.
Well, they needed a right-hander. They started the year with 4 lefties in the rotation. They've since designated for assignment John Danks. They still have Rodon, Quintana, and of course Sale. 2-2 to Trevor Plouffe. Tapper left side. Frazier is an easy play. 2 down. That'll bring up Young Hall Park. Very little has gone right for the Twins this year, but so far it looks like this is going to be a very nice signing for the Minnesota Twins. In his last 13 games, he's hitting the ball about as well as he did in Korea.
You know, that's the thing. His average is slowly climbing because he's getting hits more often. The home runs have come at opportune times. We've seen his tremendous power to all fields. But the average is something that we both believe that is going to continue to climb because he's starting to understand the level here in the major leagues. And once he gets to know the pitchers and see him more than once, which he will in his own division, I think that'll all help him.
And down and away, 2-0. Well, a couple of years ago, different country, of course, but Abreu had a big transition coming from Cuba, and it took him just a little while to get going, but eventually he was the American League Rookie of the Year. The ball hit hard to left and a base hit. Park with a solid single with 2 outs in the second inning.
Keeping it going. That's kind of swing we talk about with him. You know, the knock on him was that he might have a tough time adjusting to the higher speed and the fastballs. But Latos isn't blowing me away. That was a fastball down that Park kept his shoulder, head in. Still able to make that contact out in front of the plate and hit it crisply into left field.
In his last 3 years in Korea, South Korea, Park had on base percentages in the 430s. Here is Oswaldo Arcia. And up and in, ball one. You said it. Oswaldo Arcia, who started the year on the bench, has hit his way into the lineup on a more regular basis because Eddie Rosario has stumbled out of the gate.
Yeah, in that ugly game the other night in Houston, he was 2 for 3 with a walk, so he got on base. He did his job. He just wasn't getting a lot of help.
Arcia just part-time duty so far. It's evolved into more full-time duty. 55 at bats. Team's hitting 242. Arcia is hitting 273. That is a check swing, and Park will go to second base. No swing. It'll be a 3-0 count to Arcia.
The other thing, I'm sorry, Dick. The other thing that I think is impressive with Arcia, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen him cut down his strikeouts a little bit, and a willingness to at least try to make contact when he's behind in counts, to fight that pitcher and try to put the ball in play. There have been some ugly swings, but at least he's trying, and he's gotten a few hits with some of those ugly swings.
His second hit in Houston the other night was just a little try to make contact, maybe fight a pitch off, and he hit a flare into left. 3-0. Taking all the way, he takes a strike down and away, 3-1. Speaking of Rosario, it was a year ago today he made his major league debut in grand fashion, homering in the first pitch. Checked his swing, and Park is safe at second. He would have gotten back, and Saladino hung on to the ball. So Navarro trying to pick Park off, and Arcia takes first base with a walk.
In case you're wondering why he would throw after a base on balls, Park is still in play. If he would have picked him off, he would have been out.
Here is Suzuki. The White Sox got a big 2-out hit from Melky Cabrera to take a 2-0 lead. And now Suzuki will try to provide one for the Twins, hitting just 196. Down and away, ball one. It's been said for 150 years that good teams are strong up the middle. So at this juncture, roughly a month into the season, you look at where the Twins have been up the middle. Byron Buxton's not on the team anymore. He's in Rochester. And behind the plate, it hasn't worked out very well at all for the Twins. There's a called strike 1-1. Suzuki's hitting under 200. John Ryan Murphy was hitting below 100, and the Twins sent him out. Juan Centeno is now the backup catcher. 25 pitches this inning for Latos. Twins trying to make something out of this 2-out rally. And down and away, 2-1.
Well, when you talk about strong up the middle, most people are referring to defensively.
Right.
Buxton, a plus out there. He's a guy that the Twins would love to have come back to shore up that center field defensively. Danny Santana's done a great job, but he would probably be better suited in one of the corner positions in the outfield.
Ball hit to the right field corner. Down for a hit. Rounding second and scoring is Park. Suzuki with a 2-out single, and the Twins are on the board.
Good for Kurt right there. Went with the pitch. Eaton does a good job of getting to that corner, and that's going to have to keep Arcia over at third base. Don Cooper coming out to take a conversation with Latos. You see this pitch again. Kurt Suzuki going with the pitch. That will score Young-Ho Park. Twins on the board with their first run.
Quick trip to the mound by Don Cooper. And Latos retired the first 5 batters, but now Park's 2-out single, a wild pitch, a walk, and a single have gotten the Twins on the board. The tying run 90 feet away. Time now for greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Look at some notes from this weekend series. And the White Sox starters have 15 wins this season, most in the American League. Twin starters have just 3. And Joe Mauer is the only player to have reached in every game. And Todd Frazier off to a great start in his first year in the American League. Here's Escobar. Takes down an in-ball 1, and what we've seen from Lato's first time through the batting order, he's fallen behind almost all the hitters.
Yeah, kind of opposite of his last start against the Twins. He usually pounds the strike zone, and you mentioned it. His very last start had a kind of rough go, and maybe that's continuing here tonight.
And now up and away, 2-0.
He's a guy that throws right over the top. Very few pitchers get their arm up that high. He's coming right over the top. And that will put a lot of pressure on his shoulder. Most pitching coaches prefer you to be at about 90 degrees with your elbow.
And 3-0 to the number 9 batter. Santana on deck. 30 pitches this inning, the most Latos has thrown in any inning this year.
And Santana on deck. He'd love to come up with the bases loaded.
And a strike. Three and 1. And a liner. Nice play by Saladino, and a low throw. One hopper to Abreu retires Escobar, with Saladino cutting the ball off behind the second base bag. A nice play to end the inning. The Twins get 1 but leave 2.
That's what defense does.
On Fox Sports North. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. After being retired for the last out of the inning, some attention paid Eduardo Escobar as he ran down the line. He did something one would hope not. Well, right there. It sure looked like a hamstring strain just by the way he reacted, but he's in the ball game still, playing it short. Strike 1 to Avisail Garcia.
How frustrating it must be for Eduardo Escobar. He makes an error that causes the first 2 runs to score, and then he hits the ball perfect and can't buy a base hit. And Garcia starts it off for the White Sox with a solid hit to left.
Sometimes we talk about shifting when there is an exaggerated shift, but the shift paid off for the White Sox there. They had Saladino playing almost behind the second base bag, and he was able to go a couple of steps and make a nifty pickup on that first hop of the soft line drive and throw him out. Here is Dioner Navarro. We mentioned Alex Avila, their regular catcher, is nursing a sore hamstring.
That's part of it. You know, typically you would see Avila against the right-handers, but Navarro's number is very good against Ricky Nolasco. He's 7 for 15 at 467 batting average, so that's one of the reasons that Robin Ventura has him in the lineup.
1-0. And now 2-0. Hits and a walk and the critical error in the first inning. Velasco with a couple of strikeouts. Hoping to come back from 3-0 to Dioner Navarro.
Again, last start, Ricky Nolasco's pitch count got up there. One mistake late in the game really cost him a good outing, but the pitch count was up to the point where he might have been taken out anyway. And with the error in the first inning, the pitch count kind of creeped up. Now a leadoff man falling behind Navarro. Pitch count keeps climbing.
3-1 to Navarro. And on the outside corner. One of the issues the Twins pitching staff has had is decreased velocity with Phil Hughes and others. In Nolasco's case, he's healthier, and we've seen fastballs at 93 miles per hour, harder than he's thrown in his first 2 years with the Twins. Full count, Garcia goes, and the pitch tapped to the right side. Nunez has it, now to Mauer, one away, and Navarro goes to second. Garcia goes to second. And before Saladino is at bat, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app, take Fox Sports North and Twins baseball with you wherever you go. Roger Martin, Jack Morris, Dick Bramer here. Gorgeous weather in Chicago. We know it's been awfully nice back home in the 80s in the Twin Cities area.
High 80s.
Yes. There's Saladino, the runner at second and one down. To right field and down for a hit, and Sano was able, I think, to decoy Garcia a little bit. At least he had to hold up towards second base. First and third with one away.
They really had Sano playing well over towards the line, deeper in right field. That ball hung up there long enough that you thought maybe it would be caught. It wasn't exactly hitting the spot that you thought would lead to a base hit. You can see way over in the corner here where Miguel Sano started, and then he had to run far enough that he figured it's best not to dive, keep the ball in front of him.
Sano, after the play, held his glove up into the lights as if he may have lost sight of the ball as well. First and third, one down, and Adam Eaton, the batter. Tough guy to double up. So Nolasco will be looking for a strikeout or a pop-up here. Down and in, ball one. Eaton has grounded into 3 double plays. Nolasco, of course, though, more of a fly ball pitcher, not known as a ground ball pitcher. Hasn't gotten a ground ball double play yet this year.
You mentioned it. This is a great opportunity for a strikeout. I don't necessarily think that strikeout is the greatest thing because it adds so many pitches. But there are times during the course of the game that you need a strikeout. And Eaton's a pretty good contact hitter, but this would be a great opportunity to get that strikeout.
About a strikeout for every 8 at bats. Now Nolasco wants a different baseball again. Were you kind of persnickety with baseballs?
Persnickety.
Particular.
I wanted a ball that felt good. If the ball felt bigger, if the seams were flat, I tried to get a seam that felt like it was raised a little bit. I didn't want it too high. So I guess, yeah, I think we all are particular about how we want our baseball. Now, they throw them out every pitch nowadays. I would have to grab everybody. I mean, it would be a delay of game for me because of the way the game is played. But literally, I'd have to step off the mound and rub every ball up. I want a little tacky feel. And the only way they can do that is to spit in your hand and rub it.
Hit and run, single to left. And the runner, Saladino, will go to third. Here comes a throw to second, and Eaton is out at second. But the runs comes in from third. 2-run score on the play with Eaton trying to stretch a single into a double. But alertly, Joe McEwing sent the runner, and it's a 2-run hit.
I think that was a risk worth taking for Adam Eaton there because it created an opportunity for Joe McEwing to send the runner. And they'll take 2 runs for an out right there. See Eaton on this replay, a fastball up and away, and he just throws the bat head at it and barrels it up to left field. Garcia scores. And Saladino would have been held at third, but the throw went to second base. Nunez records the out, but the run scores.
You could see McEwing motioning Saladino home. Immediately after Arcia looked toward second base. In other words, they anticipated the throw going to second. And with the runner going with the pitch, it's a really nice base running play for the White Sox. 2 down, but 2 more runs already in, and here's Austin Jackson. Strike called, 1-1.
It's the little things that can be done. Good base running right there. Defense, good base running. And little things add up to a team getting momentum and really having confidence. The White Sox have swagger right now. They feel good about their ball club, especially at home.
And then you push the right buttons as the manager too. Robin Ventura sent the runner. If he doesn't send the runner, Escobar standing right where the ball is hit. He fields the first hop and probably turns a double play, and the Twins are out of the inning. 2-hopper to third. Bloof. Over the first, that ends the inning. 2 in the first, 2 in the second. And the White Sox have a 4-1 lead. Last year, the states of Missouri and Texas were kind of the centers of baseball, good baseball, and this year it's the city of Chicago. My goodness, White Sox with 19 wins already. The Cubs have yet to lose back-to-back games this year. They won the first two with the Nationals. Santana will lead off the third for the Twins. I was at Wrigley Field last night, and boy, they've got everybody's attention. Less so down here. When the Cubs are winning, some people refuse to acknowledge what's happening, either good or bad, here on the South Side.
But, I think they've got a pretty nice Friday night crowd.
Yep. 1-0 to Santana. And now 2-0. And again, Latos continues to fall behind batters. What a great atmosphere it was last night. Two really good teams, the Nationals and the Cubs. Sellout crowd. Cool spring evening. There's a strike, 2-1.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that did the doubleheader National League game, American League game in Chicago here today. It's rare that the Cubs and Sox play in the same evening or same day.
3-1 to Danny Santana. Eduardo Nunez, Joe Mauer will follow.
I should add at home.
Right.
They play a lot on the same day. They just don't do it at home.
And Santana draws a walk. And the Twins are seeing Latos in a completely different mode than he was in at Target Field. Carsoup.com trivia question. All time, in the history of time, which Twins player has the highest career batting average at U.S. Cellular Field?
I'll give everybody a hint. U.S. Cellular has been around here for about 20-some years, I think. So it wouldn't be any of the 65.
Right. It wouldn't be Carew, for instance, who seemed to always hit well in Chicago at the other ballpark. Here's Nunez. Santana takes off right away. And he's out.
Great throw from Navarro right there, getting rid of the ball quickly and then throwing a perfect strike. See, Latos doesn't have much of a leg kick. He gets rid of the ball quickly. Got Laurie at second base. And Danny Santana looked like he got a great jump, but Navarro throws a perfect strike down to second base.
1-0 to Nunez. A little bit of a delay as the Twins contemplated a challenge, but the replay showed that Santana got tagged in the chest before his hands got to the bag. And now a Tapper foul, 1-1. Nunez hit a one-hopper back to Latos, his first time up. Over the Twins dugout, out of play. Well, you pitched in both the old Comiskey and this ballpark as well. What were the differences?
I think the old ballpark had a lot more character. It was an awful field. There was always water in the outfield.
Well, drilled to the right field corner, and he makes a great running catch in the corner. Adam Eaton has played lights out right field for the White Sox this year. He's made two good plays tonight. One on Suzuki's single and a tremendous running catch in the corner.
You talked about that in the pregame. You talked about what Adam Eaton has done, and it doesn't really surprise me for this simple reason. Playing center field sometimes it's very difficult to get a read off the bat. You don't know if the ball's coming at you over your head, whether you should charge or not. I think it's a lot easier to get a read playing at one of the corner positions, especially with balls to your left or right. He got a great read on that ball. He's got very good speed, and he just outran the baseball.
2 down, and here is Mauer taking strike one. He's already got 6 assists in right field in the first month of the season. Basically, well, I guess what we're trying to say, although he has plenty of outfield experience, what the White Sox have seen from Eaton in right field is what the Royals saw a couple years ago when they put Alex Gordon out there. Gordon immediately took to left field.
Good position.
Like he'd spent his entire professional career in left field. And they're saying here in Chicago that Eaton in right field is so much better an outfielder than he was when he was in center.
Well, sometimes you get off to a good start, confidence grows, and you just got a feeling that you fit there, you belong there.
2 strikes to Mauer, and no ball.
For the second time in this ball game, Joe Mauer has batted with nobody on base and 2 outs.
That has been one of the issues for the Twins. Two and two. So you look at Mauer's .323 average, and just the 9 runs batted in. He's been at the plate in a lot of situations like this, and a check swing, strike 3, lead-off walk, but the Twins don't take advantage and trail 4-1. I'm sure won't come as a surprise to many of you who saw Escobar's first at bat. He appeared to tweak something running to first, so Escobar leaves the ball game. Nunez goes to short. Santana in to second base. Rosario now in center field. Here's Escobar, and about 3/4 of the way there. I'm very surprised if the Twins didn't tell us later that it was a hamstring strain. So the Twins with a 4-man bench, that's the good news, with just 12 pitchers, but now Rosario in center field. Abreu lifts one high and deep to left. Arcia back, and it is gone. A home run for Jose Abreu, and it's 5-1.
Abreu with great power, and that was a no-doubter. Tell right from the crack of the bat that ball was going to leave the ballpark.
Home run number 5 for Abreu.
Watch the extension of this swing. Ball was down and away, but Abreu went and got it, and just total extension. Ball out in front of the plate where he made contact.
5th home run allowed by an Alaska. And here's Todd Frazier. Swing and foul back. Frazier reached on the Escobar error that led to the 2 unearned runs in the first. So there are the Twins defensively now, with Nunez moving from second to short, Santana from center to second, and Rosario in the game. He'll hit in Escobar's spot. 1-1 to Frazier. Frazier before the game today, and he can relate to what the Twins are going through. He suffered through a bad year last year with the Reds, particularly in the second half. Really enjoying his first season with the White Sox. Popped up and then coming just beneath us.
Well, Frazier having a couple different swings there. This third pitch that Ricky threw this inning, he brushed Frazier off the plate, got him to jackknife, and that set up these last two breaking balls where he hasn't had that same kind of swing. I think that's what you have to do if you're a pitcher, and guys swing so hard sometimes. You got to move their feet. Good sequence right there for Ricky. Frazier had one swing, and that was that first pitch of the at-bat, and then Ricky just abused him after that.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Melky Cabrera made the Twins pay for their mistake in the first inning. A 2-run double to left center field. Strike one, and then another pitch up and in. Up anyway. I don't know how in it was. It looked like it might have been over the inside corner.
It accomplished something. It made him uncomfortable and moved his feet. Now, I don't know where this next one's going to go, but sometimes it's good to double up with that kind of pitch. Move their feet a couple times, and then that'll open up the outside part of the plate for you.
The home run by Abreu, and then going back to the home run he allowed to Castellanos. Ball line to foul. They were breaking balls on the outer half of the plate. And in Castellanos' case, it's almost like he was anticipating getting that pitch. Went out and got it and hooked it deep into the seats and left.
That's why you have to keep them honest inside, off the plate inside, down especially, move their feet occasionally.
Foul back.
You can see that Cabrera did not have the same swing on that particular swing with the ball away that he did. He's looking middle half in now. Ricky got his attention, and he was able to foul a fastball in, but the outer part of the plate may be open for him. They're going to go out there.
Half swing and strike three. Back-to-back strikeouts after the Abreu home run. That'll bring up Brett Lord.
4 strikeouts for Ricky.
Laurie, a strikeout victim to wrap up the first inning. And a strike over the inside corner. Laurie brings a lot of intensity.
Good fashion statement with his mouth guard.
Breaking ball at strike 2.
It's like something you'd wear at Halloween.
Yeah. Count Dracula.
The intent is to wear it inside the mouth, but a couple of times it's worn it outside his mouth.
And a called third strike. Laurie takes 3. And the White Sox get one more on the Abreu home run. It's 5-1.
Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Good start for the White Sox, and Abreu home run, making it 5-1. And again, the White Sox not only swept the Twins at Target Field earlier this year, the Twins never had a lead. Miguel Sano will lead off the fourth. Middle of the Twins lineup. Sano, Plouffe, and Park will try to start a rally in the fourth. Park had a long, Sano had a long at bat with Latos and finally struck out swinging. Pitches up, ball one. I bet you if you ask Latos right now, he would tell you that of his starts this year, he's had the poorest command tonight, and yet he's got a 5-1 lead.
He had a clean third inning. I shouldn't say clean. He walked the leadoff man. That's not clean, but Navarro, his catcher, made a great throw to get Danny Santana trying to steal the base. So it ended up being a 1-2-3 inning.
6th 2-0 count for Latos. Missed 2-1.
So they've got the shift on the left side for Miguel.
Tapped foul, 2-2. Sano's gotten his hits and drawn some walks, but he knows he's in the lineup because of his power, and as long as this home run streak continues, he's going to be very frustrated. Home run less streak. Swing and a miss, off-speed pitch. Second time that Sano has struck out. That'll bring up Plouffe. Tomorrow, MLB on FS1 is back with 2 monster games featuring some of baseball's best players. The Rangers taking on the Tigers in a game you can only see on FS1. And the Nationals taking on the Cubs at Wrigley. The action begins at 11:30 Central on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Plouffe with a grounder to third his first time up. With the third baseman Frazier back almost on the outfield grass, Plouffe bluffed a bunt with ball one. Bunt. Latos wants to make the play and makes the play.
Good strong throw from Matt Latos over to Jose Abreu. He usually, you'd prefer him to bare hand that ball. It was almost dead in the grass, but he fielded glove side and had to transfer the ball to his throwing hand. That took a few extra seconds, but a great throw. And Trevor Plouffe, even though he laid down a very good bunt, does not have the speed to beat it out.
2 down, and now Byung-Ho Park grounded a single with 2 outs in the second. Ended up scoring the Twins run. Talked about Park, and hey, when a guy hits over 50 home runs back-to-back years in whatever league, those are the numbers that catch your attention. On strike. And now a ball. But what we're starting to see is he's, a very good guy to draw walks, hit for average, or at least he was over there with the on-base percentages in the 430s. And another hit, a liner past a leaping Saladino, and Park has 2 singles.
That's what we're starting to see from Byung-Ho is multi-hit games, and that's where that average starts creeping up. On-base percentage gets a little bit better. Another solid hit.
Arcia drew a walk his first time up.
Park came around to score after 2 outs and nobody on in front of him. Got the base hit. The Twins were able to figure out a way with a walk and a hit to score Park.
Up and away, ball one. The walk to Arcia, his 6th of the year. There have been 24 strikeouts in 55 at bats. To left field and deep and gone. Tremendous power to the opposite field. And Arcia cranks out a 2-run home run.
Seems to be a ballpark that Oswaldo Arcia likes to hit in. He's hit some bombs in this ballpark. And that one was a no-doubter in the opposite field.
We've seen hits to left field, and we've seen home runs to left field. He has so far shown signs of maturing as a hitter, using the whole field. And it helps, I suppose, when you've got this kind of power to the opposite field. 5-3, and the Twins have scored 3 runs after a Park single with 2 out in 2 different innings. Well, Suzuki takes down an away ball one. Suzuki drove in a run with a single to right. And the first of 2 good plays by Adam Eaton into the right field corner. The second one saved a hit. The first one might have saved a run. Suzuki hit a ball down toward the right field corner, and Eaton cut it off, and that held Arcia at third base. He never did come in to score. And if that ball had gotten by Eaton into the corner, Arcia would have scored. And a strike.
Look at the point of contact for Oswaldo Arcia. Now that ball went to left field opposite, but look at how still his head was. The ball was out in front of the plate, even though it was away from him. And that was a no-doubter.
Suzuki with a sharp single to center. The Twins trying to show a little pushback here to what's been an ugly start to the game.
Yeah, that's a good sign. 3 solid hits after 2 outs. And Matt Latos is now struggling a little with his command. That ball again up, like the one to Arcia, out over the plate.
Here is Rosario, and we mentioned it was a year ago tonight that he jumped into the big leagues with both feet, hitting an opposite field home run in target field on the first pitch. And now suddenly here in the 4th inning, he represents the tying run. Swing and a miss. A very rough start for Rosario. And oddly enough, it hasn't been the strikeouts so much as just not making solid contact.
Yeah, you just said 4 words that we've heard just too many times with Eddie up there. Swing and a miss.
Yep. But, I mean, it's not great. 22 strikeouts. The ball headed towards center field. And Rosario beats out an infield hit despite a good effort by Laurie with the shift on. He was pulled over toward the hole between Abreu and himself along the right side, and Rosario hit it in a good spot and gets an infield hit.
He still runs well. Got down the line. Brett Laurie made a nice play there, but could not get enough on his throw. And Eddie was able to beat it out easily. Let's keep it rolling here. 2 on now with 2 out.
Rosario hitting for Escobar. We just received word that the injury was not a hamstring, but a left groin that was tweaked. Here is Santana. He has popped up to second and drawn a walk, tying run aboard. And an extra base hit here could tie the game up. Swing and a miss. And again, Latos' last start didn't go well. 5 innings, 11 hits, 4 earned runs, and now the Twins here in the 4th. Putting together a 2-out rally. Actually out hitting the White Sox 6-5 at this point. Well, you might survive it for a while, but we talked about Latos' lack of command and falling behind hitters. Eventually that's going to catch up with you, isn't it?
I think he's just thrown too many pitches up, period. He's missed up, but he's also missed out over the plate up.
The plate 1-1.
Even that breaking ball was up. He's not following through and not bending his back and kind of stiff-legging that landing foot.
Scott Carroll warming up in the Chicago bullpen here in the 4th inning. Popped up, backing out of play.
Let's watch his livery. Just a tiny little leg lift. Actually bends over further than I thought he was.
Innings hits for the Twins, all of them with 2 outs. You know, Santana trying to keep the line moving here with the tying run at first and 2 away. Screen.
Bert talks about it all the time that pitchers have to stay back on their back leg, the one that makes contact with the rubber, and give their arm a chance to get caught up so that they can release the ball out in front of them. Lato's just a fraction of a second tardy.
That's strike 3. Gets away from Navarro, and the throw to first just barely got in. So the inning ends on a strikeout. The Twins get a home run from Arcia with a man aboard and cut the White Sox lead in half. We talk about defense. Pretty nice little play by Deoner Navarro, picking up a wild pitch and throwing out the speedy Santana to end the inning.
Shows his strong throwing arm behind the plate. Got a little break there with the ricochet off the wall.
Here's Garcia taking down and away, and Alaska, who's not put up a 0 yet, would like to put a few of them together here. They can here to try to jump back into the game. Wrap toward third, cut off by Plouffe, comes up firing, nice play. Trevor Plouffe to his left, retires Garcia 1 away.
Kind of moving his arm around like he might have strained it there, but what he did well, not the quickest guy moving laterally, but what he did well was jump up quickly and get rid of that ball after he did knock it down.
Awareness of the speed, and we're still getting a little extra time from the last.
Watch how quickly he gets up there.
Here is Navarro, and he takes strike 1. Navarro hit a ground ball to Nunez, then the second baseman in the second inning. Way out in front.
Ricky taking something off that curveball right there. Navarro way out in front, but a great location too, and it's the arm speed that makes that so effective.
Big pull shift on for Navarro. Swings and misses, and Alaska with another strikeout. Struck out the side, albeit after the Abreu home run, but 2 away quickly here in the 4th. And that'll bring up Saladino.
Ricky has he's had a lot of strikeouts recently. See, this is number 6 over the top, kept it down.
Fox Tracks presented by Don. 6 strikeouts for Nolasco, 4 ground ball outs, and no fly ball outs yet. Here is Saladino, singled and scored his first time up. And an alert base running play by Saladino, and alert coaching by Joe McEwing, scoring him on Eaton's single in the next at bat. Off the plate, 1-1. Ventura had better reasons to do this, but he put Saladino in the lineup on Italian Heritage Night. Driven to right, Sano started in, now goes back and makes the catch on the edge of the track. An 8-pitch inning as the White Sox go down 1-2-3.
I like deep dish pizza, it's good, but I like folding it. I like New York style.
I like the New York style pizza.
Chicago.
Chicago style pizza.
The only problem with the Chicago deep dish is, I mean, you could have one piece and it's your stuff.
Deep dish, I feel like there's more food to eat. It just tastes better. It's kind of fluffier. I like it.
Well, I enjoy deep dish pizza here in Chicago. How about you? Are you a deep dish guy or a thin crust?
I'm a thin crust. I figure deep dish is a loaf of bread with a little sauce. And it is filling, just like Jepson's.
Yeah, it is.
Taste-wise, they're both good. Who doesn't like pizza?
Matt Latos had a 23-pitch fourth inning and then a very quick time in the dugout back out there. He took a little extra time to get out there. He didn't start his warm-up tosses until there were 32 seconds left on the between innings clock. There's a ball blasted to left center field. And that ball hits the base of the wall. And Nunez digging for second, and he is in with a first pitch double. And the Twins down 5-1 get their first hit with less than 2 out in an inning.
You wonder if Latos had some issue there in between innings. Just like you said, he came out, didn't throw very many warm-up pitches, and Nunez might have been aware of that, being the guy to lead off the inning. He's in the on-deck circle taking his warm-ups, looking for that first pitch out over the plate. This ball hits high off the wall. Melky Cabrera does a great job of fielding it position-wise to get rid of that ball. Nunez has to hustle to get a leadoff double.
And now Mauer 0 for 2, a ground ball to short and a check swing strikeout. Strike one over the inside corner. Both Latos and his catcher Navarro came out late, and he managed to squeeze in 6 warm-up tosses. But he didn't throw his first one until there were 32 seconds left in the time between innings. And Nunez pounces on the first pitch and hammers a double. And now Mauer with an 0-1 count. At the knee, 0-2. And Latos has gotten ahead of Mauer 0-2 without Joe so much as swinging in all 3 at-bats. He's taken 2 strikes in each of his at-bats. Lifted to the left field corner. Cabrera chasing it and making a fair ball catch, and Nunez alertly goes to third. And now Nunez is hurt. An awkward head-first slide, and it looked like he did something to his left hand. Good play by the other corner outfielder. Going to the corner, getting Mauer's deep fly ball.
Long run from Melky Cabrera, and he keeps his eye on the ball as he's going into no man's land there in the corner. You don't know if it's going to be the outfield wall or the sideline wall that you're going to run into, but he stays with it. Bounces off the wall. Great tag there by Nunez, and as he slides, he caught his left wrist, it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And kind of rolled it over. Shoulder didn't look like it went in well.
Sano takes up high. Infield is back. And the Twins need to get this run in. Advantage of the leadoff double. Sano has struck out twice. More activity in the White Sox bullpen. Lifted to right field and deep. Eaton going back and makes the catch at the wall. Tagging from third and scoring is Nunez, and it's 5-4.
Well, good base running by Nunez, and a good job from Sano right there, and Mauer to move Nunez into scoring position. And the Twins within 1. Latos at 90 pitches. More than likely, this will be his last inning. That's why there's the activity now in the Sox bullpen.
Good to see Nunez smile after doing something to his left arm or shoulder. And Sano nearly lifting one out to right center. But a sacrifice fly getting a run in, and now here's Plouffe. Up and away, ball 1.
So that was Zach Putman.
2-0. So the White Sox got 4 great starts from Latos, but now the way he's pitched the last 2 games has been the way he pitched last year when he hopped from team to team, 3 different teams. With a strike on the outside corner. Trevor 0 for 2, a grounder to third, then he tried to bunt, and Latos made a nice play on it. 3-1 with Park on deck.
Well, if Latos could record this final out, it is the top of the 5th inning. That would qualify him for a win if the game stayed where it is. But I've got a lot of confidence that either of those things will happen.
Fly to right, easy play for Eaton. He's completed 5, but he's given back almost all of what was a 4-run lead.
It's a 5-4 game. Ricky Nolasco delivers strike one to Adam Eaton. Pepsi fans of the game, Twins fans hoping for a come from behind win against a really good pitching staff. It was 5-1. Now it's 5-4. Eaton, Jackson, and Abreu here in the 5th against Nolasco through just 8 pitches in a 1-2-3-4. That's a fair ball into the corner. Eaton can fly. And he'll fly around second. And Sano's throw not in time nor on target. It's a leadoff triple for Adam Eaton.
You kind of knew that ball, if it got stuck at all or ended up underneath that padding down the line, that Eaton was going to try for third. Just a question of how fast Sano could get to this ball. It kind of stays right there along the wall. And by the time Sano actually gets to throw the ball, Eaton had already rounded second base.
Curious what happened to the ball because it never carried.
No.
You know, Sano's trying to play the carom and it must have gotten pinned under the padding down there. The Twins bring the infield in here after the leadoff triple.
The foul ball guy is sitting down in that general area. I don't know if it got trapped underneath him or not.
Austin Jackson walked and scored in the 1st, hit a ground ball in the 3rd. Getting the ball hit on the ground here most of the way. You can see the ball hit the bottom of the padding and just stayed there. And that allowed Eaton to reach third standing up. He might have gotten there anyway.
You see there's some kind of hose down that line. Must have got Dutch underneath that hose. It is.
2 strikes to Jackson. Last 6 outs, 4 of them have come via a strikeout. Just missed the fastball, and that's what we were talking about. 93, just off the outside corner. And I don't remember at any point in his first 2 years with the Twins, Nolasco getting as high as 93. Generally, it was 91. 1 and 2. Missing the outside corner at 94.
The other thing that Ricky's done this year, when he's missing with his fastball away, he's missing off the plate. He's not missing over the plate. Now, some of his breaking balls have stayed up and over the plate, but at least with his fastball, he's making sure that he pulls that left side open enough that he's off the plate.
Grounder right side. Mauer with a pickup, but there's nobody at first.
Well, Ricky doesn't cover the bag. That's got to be instinctive for the pitcher. Anything hit to his left, he's got to break over, and Ricky knows it. Nothing that Santana could do. He was playing deep in the hole, so this is all on Ricky Nolasco. He did not continue on over.
Bauer's got to cut that ball off. It's the only thing that kept Eaton from scoring. If that ball had rolled through to the second baseman, Eaton would have come in from third. Here's Abreu, first and third. Nobody out.
The little things, that's another one of those little things, difference makers in a ball game. Now their best hitter comes to the plate. No outs recorded.
One's playing back for a double play grounder, but Nolasco misses with his first pitch. Yeah, how many little things have the White Sox done right just in the ball game? A couple nice plays by Eaton and right. Cabrera with a nice play in left. Navarro behind the plate, getting the wild pitch, throwing out Santana to complete the strikeout. And they're 4 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Little nubber foul. Good time to let you know about May 9th being Scrubs Night at Target Field. Limited number of Scrubs Night tickets. Ticket packages are available. Include a game ticket and twin scrub bottoms. Go to twinsbaseball.com/scrubs. Learn more about the Scrubs Night theme night offer. One and one to Abreu. Velasco had retired 6 men in a row after Abreu's home run leading off the third. Foul, 1-2.
You can almost see Abreu starting to dive out over the plate. He hit a pretty darn good breaking ball off the plate for a home run his last at bat. Ricky's just staying away. He hasn't done anything to keep him or prevent him from diving out there and trying to move his feet at all.
One and two. And a pitch up, foul back.
Key location of the home run that Abreu hit. It was a slider. And it was on the corner away. It was a little too high, but
it's about where the pitch to Castellanos was.
Yeah, to pull that ball the way he did, he's got to go out after it. And if you're pitching them off the plate once in a while, they're not going to dive that much.
1-2. Nice job by Suzuki. I was at Wrigley Field last night. Saw Jim Deshaies, who used to pitch for the Twins. Now he's a broadcaster for the Cubs. I'll never forget Deshaies pitching to Mo Vaughn, who had all the body armor and all that. And Deshaies was left absolutely defenseless because Mo Vaughn would lean over the plate. Deshaies had to be down and away. I mean, you know, one of those pitchers, one of those guys. He didn't throw hard. And at least nowadays, hitters don't have as much body armor on as they used to. 2-2. Just missed the inside corner. Tried to clip it with Abreu. You could see right there what you were talking about. He almost leaned over the plate on it.
Yeah, he's looking out over the plate because Ricky hasn't shown him anything off the plate. And Ricky tried to run this fastball in on the inside corner. You see where Suzuki's hitting or sitting, but the ball had too much tail and ran off the plate.
You see Abreu's head? It moved forward about a foot. Runner goes, and the pitch chopped to third. Plouffe looks at Eaton and fires across. And the Twins get an out. No run scores, but on the play, Jackson advances to second. Again, a timely starting of the runner by the White Sox. In that case, sending Jackson kept them out of a double play. The run would have scored, but the Twins, I think, would have taken the 2 outs to give up 1 run at this point. Here's Frazier. Suzuki, Plouffe, and Nunez on the mound with a base open.
Well, they want to make sure, and Nunez, Plouffe both wanting to hear it from Ricky and how they want to attack Todd Frazier. Got runners at second and third with only 1 out. And that'll help position them as to what he might be throwing.
Let's bring the infield halfway in here.
And they're going to try to get Eaton at home if they can.
On the ground, they'll come home, and they've got Eaton. Nice play by the shortstop Nunez with Frazier cracking his bat. 2 away.
That's why they play halfway. He plays just like that. Eduardo Nunez does a nice job. The ball's hit sharply right at him, but he has plenty of time. He makes a perfect throw back to Suzuki. Eaton, who can really fly, got a good jump, but easily out at home plate because they position the infield halfway.
2 down, first and third. Contact play on, and Eaton came home and ran into an out. And now Melky Cabrera.
On the throw, Austin Jackson does go over to third base, but with 2 outs, Twins don't really worry about him now because 1 out will end the inning.
Down and in, ball 1.
And this is where Ricky's really got to focus. Melky Cabrera struck out his last time, doubled in the first inning. He's been a very good hitter off of Ricky Nolasco.
1-0 to Cabrera. A nice scoop by Suzuki, 2-0. Laurie on deck.
I think what Ricky's trying to do is get him out on the inner part of the plate. The double that Cabrera hit was up and away, and Melky Cabrera will swing a lot of pitches inside, but he usually pulls them foul. Now Suzuki stepping out in front of the plate and giving the infielders some signals in case Todd Frazier takes off. Whether or not he's going to throw through or just hold the ball. They don't want a double steal here.
Two and 0. 2-1. Well, the Twins trying to get back in the game, and their comeback effort will get a big lift if Nolasco allows a leadoff triple to the fastest guy on the White Sox, and the White Sox won't score. Two and 1. Base is open, but at second base.
He's got to be careful. He's already struck out Brett Laurie, the on-deck hitter, twice in this game.
Squirted to left, a base hit. Not hit well at all, but Cabrera gets his second big 2-out hit of the night, driving in a run, and it's 6-4.
It's a similar base hit that we see so much from Joe Mauer, just fighting it off his disc, flaring it out to left field. He tried to get him out in, but the ball was just too high. It wasn't underneath his hands.
Just 1 run batted in his last 11 games, and he's got 3 tonight. First and second, 2 down, and now Nolasco going after Laurie. Strike on the outside corner. And another run will score. Trevor picked his glove up, reached for it, and I think was pretty sure that he was going to make the catch, and not even sure he got a leather on it.
No, he did not. It looked like the ball went right through his glove. It's a ball that should be caught, even though it was hit hard. It will not go down as an error. It will go down as a hit. You've got to believe Trevor Plouffe is wondering what happened there.
Target outside, the pitch was delivered inside, and Laurie hit the stuffing out of it. But look at Plouffe on the very left edge of your screen. So another big 2-out hit for the White Sox, and the lead is back to 3. Nolasco's so close to putting up a 0 here after the leadoff triple, and now there are 2 on the board. The inning's still not over. Ball 1. Garcia with a single and a run scored, and a ground ball to third.
Now there's going to be activity in the Twins bullpen.
2-0.
Tonkin getting loose.
Talked already quite a bit about the improved Chicago defense, and an important part of it is taking Garcia off the field and putting him in the DH spot. Garcia was their right fielder, and we've already seen Adam Eaton make a number of plays here tonight. It's been the story of the great start for the White Sox. Improved defense, particularly in the outfield, and Garcia not a part of that. 3-0.
Ricky's showing a little frustration on the mound right now. He's taking his time, trying to regroup. But pitch count climbing.
And a 4-pitch walk will fill him up for Navarro. Let's see if there's a trip to the mound here by Neil Allen. And it is. Allen coming to the mound here to try to give Velasco a little bit of a breather. The Twins Flex Plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. Choose in advance even the day of the game. Don't plan. Flex Plan. Go to twinsbaseball.com/flex or call 800-33-TWINS to learn more. Late umpire Todd Tishner will move things along. Gives us an opportunity to tell you that the Twins are going to play a night game tomorrow, and then a day game Sunday. Are home for 3 games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday against the Orioles, then head back on the road. This team has won just 2 games on the road, and they need to start figuring out how to win games on the road in a hurry. Here is Navarro, a game-breaking situation. Bases loaded, 2 down. Hook foul, strike 1.
I promise you that little pep talk from Neil Allen was all about, look, you just need to record another out. This game's not over, even though it's been a frustrating one for Ricky. He just wants to reassure him he's pitched well enough that he could have better results. He needs to get an out.
Drop to the right side. That ball skipped to Mauer. He'll make the play, and the White Sox leave the bases full. With a couple of big 2-out hits, 2 more runs for Chicago. A 28-pitch inning for Velasco, and the lead is back to 3.
The White Sox leading 7-4. Minnesota Lottery would like to remind Twins fans at home games, bring your Circle Me signs, and if you get circled, you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery's winner's circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
I want to give our best wishes as you look at Zach Putnam. He'll be the next Chicago pitcher, and his numbers
solid. The Chicago bullpen been very good. But we want to pass along our very best wishes to assistant to the general manager, a good friend of all of ours, but particularly for Terry Ryan. Larry Corrigan, a couple nights ago, while scouting for the Twins in Oklahoma, suffered a stroke. And Larry is recovering. He's stabilized, and we wish him very, very best. It's easy to get caught up in wins and losses, particularly when there are so many more losses than wins. But pretty serious matter regarding Larry Corrigan. We hope that Larry recovers quickly and completely.
He's been with the organization a long time.
Young Ho Park takes ball one. He has 2 singles and 2 runs scored. And a strike. Park's singles in each case, second inning and 4th inning, came with 2 outs and the bases empty. And in each case, his base hit triggered a run-scoring inning, 1 in the 2nd and 2 in the 4th. Swing and a miss, and it's 1 and 2.
Well, Matt Latos finishes his game with 5 innings pitched, allowing 7 hits, 4 runs all in. And Zach Putnam will take over. Got a little bit of a lead to work with now, 3-1 cushion.
Sure didn't look like 5 runs were going to be enough with Latos on the mound, and now 7 are on the board with Putnam on the mound.
Well, again, part of what is improved with the Chicago White Sox team overall is their bullpen. And being able to piece it together, Robin Ventura feels like he's got a little bit better tools to work with.
Drilled to right center field and deep. This ball is caught in the gap by Austin Jackson. What a catch by the White Sox center fielder.
Long way to run for Austin Jackson, but the way he timed his leap up against the wall is what separates the great center fielders. They know exactly where that wall is, how many steps on the warning track they'll take. You can see again the power that Young Ho Park has. Ball down and in, he's lifting it all the way out there towards right center. But a great play. Improved defense again for Chicago White Sox.
All 3 outfielders have made an extraordinary play to keep the White Sox in front here. Arcia with a walk and a home run. Seen actually 2 plays by Eaton. Cabrera with a nice running catch just in fair territory, barely in the left field corner. Now this catch by Jackson. 1-0 to Arcia. 2-0. We enjoyed it last year. We felt the Twins' outfield defense had taken great strides forward with Hicks and Buxton in center. Rosario played really well in left. Corey Hunter didn't have the range he once did, but he was kind of a stabilizing force. Yep, perfectly timed, and he ran into the padding too, instead of the chain link fence.
There's paddings on that pole right there, but the pitcher liked it.
Mercy's drawn 2 walks here. That'll bring up Suzuki, who's got 2 singles. Butler's not going about business too efficiently here. He gives up a long out to Park on a 2-strike pitch, and he wants Arcia on 4. Suzuki with an RBI single into the right field corner, and then a solid single to center in the 4th. High and tight. Putnam pitched an inning and a 3rd last night in that marathon game against the Red Sox. Outside corner.
Good to see Suzuki having a good night behind or at the plate with the bat in his hand. 2 for 2. He's hit the ball hard both times.
And he bunted in the air. Navarro with the catch.
tried to bunt for hits twice. Both times it's resulted in an out. 2 down. Let's find Audra Martin in her hometown of Chicago.
Well, guys, I talked to Twins hitting coach Tom Bernansky about why Eddie Rosario has found himself in a bit of a sophomore slump. And he said the first thing he had to get Eddie to realize is what other teams see in him when he's at the plate. His tendency to swing at everything isn't a secret anymore. So he pulled out the heat map of the pitches that he's swinging at, and he gave it to Eddie and said, here, it's all right here. These teams see this. They know how to attack you. And until you clean up the strike zone, they're going to keep pitching you that way. From there, he said the other thing is Eddie has to keep his head still and his body quiet. But he said it's kind of difficult for a guy like Eddie, who's an emotional guy. It's difficult when you're trying to do too much. He said that emotion can be a great thing at the plate, but for Eddie, he's got to find balance. Guys?
Thank you, Audra. The impression everyone got about Rosario last year is just kind of a happy-go-lucky, carefree guy, but as his slump has continued, this is the anniversary of his major league debut. Here are the numbers he's put up. Batting average, okay. Power is okay. But look, 18 walks and 140 strikeouts.
Well, I think Audrey did a good job. Bruno nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. That's exactly what is happening. Teams know. That's what's unbelievable about Major League Baseball is if there's a weakness, it'll be exposed. And then every team in the league will try to address that weakness.
In a nutshell, why would you throw Eddie Rosario a strike
if he's swinging at balls?
If he's swinging at pitches out of the strike zone. Yeah. 2 strikes. Power's still there. He's shown that with the 3 home runs this year. Up and in. Out of the strike zone, Rosario strikes out, and that leaves Arce at first base. And we head to the bottom of the 6th with the White Sox up by 3. Beautiful night here in Chicago. You can kick off the youth baseball and softball season with a free clinic Saturday at Prairie Island Sports Complex. The clinic is open to boys and girls ages 6 to 12 interested in learning basic tips and skills from Minnesota Twins community coaches. No pre-registration required, which is a good thing since it's tomorrow. Visit foxsportsnorth.com, click on upcoming events for the details. Tyler Saladino will lead things off. The Twins going to their bullpen. Ricky Nolasco out after 5. Now it's Michael Tonkin's turn.
See the numbers from Michael this year. He's pitching now in his 13th game.
7 runs allowed by Nolasco. 5 of them earned. It'll be Saladino, Eaton, and Jackson in the 6th. Saladino squares and takes ball 1. Twins bullpen is in a curious situation here tonight. Once word was leaked that
Both Tommy Milone, who was the long reliever, and probably wouldn't have been available tonight anyway since he threw over 50 pitches 2 nights ago in Houston. Both Milone and Casey Fiend have been put on irrevocable waivers. And then there's a waiver period, and then you go from the bottom of the standings to the top. And if a team claims either one of those guys, there's a ball drilled, just foul, just landed. Not far from the feet of third base umpire Brian Knight in foul territory. If, say, pick a team, any team.
Angels.
Let's just mention the Angels against for Tommy Milone, or for that matter, Casey Fiend. They'd have an opportunity to pick the player up. And then they're gone, but they're still here. Lifted to the right field corner, and Sano watches it drift back into the seats. So you're left in a curious spot if you're the manager, because these players are on waivers and someone may have put in a claim already for them. We'll find out at 1 o'clock tomorrow. They are here and technically available. I don't think Paul Mahler would prefer to use either one of them tonight. So we're going to foul back.
Well, it's supposed to be kind of a hush-hush thing. The players typically don't find out about it, although it's an information world we live in now. It's probably easier today than it ever was. But it puts everybody in an awkward position. Teammates look at them differently. Players are kind of wondering, those two guys have to be.
This ball hit the Sano for the catch. Talking with a long-time scout who I've come to know over the years, and he stopped by the booth for a visit today. And I was asking him about that. Of course, if you're sending a player through waivers, all the other teams, general managers, are aware that the player is being waived, and then he might call the scouts to say, hey, if you're in Minnesota or in Chicago, you want to check out Casey Fiend. Maybe they were in Houston. See how he looks and all that. The ball hit to center. And coming in, then going back, Rosario makes the catch for out number 2. And in this day and age, it is impossible to keep a secret. Two down. A couple of outfield flies for Tonkin, and now Austin Jackson. Jackson with a walk and a run scored in the first, and a single and a run scored in the fifth.
Well, the White Sox have done some little things in this game to put them in front. And it continues to be a problem for the Twins that they aren't doing the little things sometimes that they need to do. There are certain times you just have to tip your hat to the opposing pitcher. He's done a great job. And defense is something that I think everybody expects to be solid day in and day out. That's something you can do, is play good defense. Hitting and pitching kind of come and go.
Most of the difference in this game, the result of a first inning error that led to 2 runs. Strike on the outside corner, 1-2. So with Malone's status in limbo, to say the least, Michael Tonkin is back in a long relief role here. As the Twins hope he can pitch maybe a couple innings. Down and away, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, it's the bottom of the 6th, so I don't think it's going to be any more than 2 innings from Michael. It may only be 1.
Third start in a row, though. Lifted to short right. Sano comes in. Third game in a row where no Twin starters thrown a pitch in the 6th inning.
Sox still up front, 7-4. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Minnesota Twins. New pitcher for the White Sox would be left-hander Zach Putnam.
No, Zach Putnam was in. This is Zach Duke.
Zach Duke, I mean.
You got your Zags.
I got the first word right.
Zach Duke will come in, and he'll face switch hitter Danny Santana, right-handed hitter Eduardo Nunez, and then Joe Mauer.
Duke has kind of come in as a one-inning guy. There's a couple left-handers. 17th appearance already. So
Santana switch hitter, but he's had 5 at-bats as a right-handed batter, and he's 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Strike one. 2 years ago when Santana hit .319, it was one of the few bright spots of an otherwise disappointing season. He hit well from both sides of the plate. To the glove of Duke. Quick first out. And that'll bring up Nunez. Nunez has hit the ball hard twice. A line out to Eaton in right field in the 3rd, and then he drilled a double to the gap in left center in the 5th.
He's in the lineup primarily because of his offense. He's done a great job this season, and that continued here tonight. Double and scored a run in the 5th.
Away, ball 1. The 85th birthday of the great Willie Mays. Played very briefly with the Minneapolis Colors in the early 50s. Checked his swing, and it's 2 out. Ever had occasion to meet Mr. Mays at all?
I did. I met him at some kind of function where we were all introduced on the field. May up and throwing now. So I don't know if that means Michael Tompkins' night is over or not.
I asked you before the game, you collected baseball cards as I did. You had to pitch against some of the guys, Yastrzemski's and people like that. You may have collected their baseball cards. It had to be kind of a weird feeling, didn't it, to pitch to some of the guys?
Weird in some respect.
Another bunt attempt. This one, thankfully, over the screen, popped up again.
But inspiring in other aspects, because you were a kid at one time, and now all of a sudden you wake up, blink your eyes, and you're on the mound facing those same guys that you really aspired to be like. So that was pretty inspirational.
2-2 to Nunez with 1 out in the 7th. Coming down, sidearm, and he gets a strikeout. 2 down. Changed his delivery a little bit there and got Nunez to swing and miss.
One of the guys that will show you different arm slots. This time he comes completely sidearm.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. 2 down, and here's Bauer. Bauer 0 for 3. Right side. 0 for 4, and Duke has a very quick, clean 1, 2, 3, 7th inning.
story of the game again with the White Sox jumping out in front early.
Melky Cabrera gets it going for the Sox, and you can just see the balls are flying all over early. Pitchers having a tough time containing either one of these ball teams in this game. 7-4 White Sox as we enter the bottom of the 7th inning.
Bad crash.
Are they still going?
16 hits, 11 runs. Here's Abreu who hit a home run in the 3rd inning. That was one of the loudest bat cracks we've had here tonight. Strike one. Abreu, Frazier, and Cabrera facing Michael Tonkin. Still 79 degrees here. This has had the feel of a midsummer game. This ball hit high, fairly deep to center. Rosario's out there tonight after the injury to Escobar, and he makes the catch on one. Since the Twins have had Santana, now Rosario out in center, maybe it's worth mentioning that Byron Buxton has done quite well in Rochester after a slow start, hitting over 300, hit a home run in his first at bat tonight. Talked with Darren Mastroianni, who played next to Buxton in center field in Rochester, and of course was called up today. He said, yeah, they had a lot of fun in the outfield. Mastroianni in left, Buxton in center, Kepler in right. He says, you know what? We didn't give up many base hits. All three of them can run like the wind, and they covered a lot of ground. Teams are hopeful that Buxton and Kepler will be up here for good soon. Inside the ball.
You and I were talking here pregame about the state of the Twins right now. I thought you made a great point. The next time they bring up Byron Buxton, they just hope they never have to send him back again.
Yeah. Went through that last year under different circumstances. He was called up because of injury, but then got sent down. This year, the opening day center fielder. 1-2 to Todd Frazier. Michael Tonkin now with a 2-2 count. He's retired all 4 batters on 4 outfield flies. Typically, that's not a good idea in this ballpark, particularly when it's as warm as it's been. Ouch. Awful, awful
Wonderful
sound.
The best sound in the game if you're on the mound.
2 down. Well, here's how busy the Twins were after the humiliating defeat at Houston the other night. Irvin Santana has been reinstated. He'll start tomorrow. John Ryan Murphy will try to get his hitting going in Rochester. Darren Mastroianni's contract was selected. Ryan O'Rourke, J.R. Graham designated for release or assignment. Those made necessary because Mastroianni wasn't on the 40-man roster. And then the Wants and Tenham also needed to be added to the 40-man roster. Driven foul, strike one. Oh, my. That was not a Gold Glove caliber play out there by the ball man.
No harm, no foul.
1 strike to Cabrera. And now a base hit to center. Cabrera's 3rd hit of the ball game. This one at least came with the bases empty and 2 out. The other hits came with 2 outs and then on. He's driven in 3 runs.
The fastballs that he's seen out over the plate, he's hit hard. He's been pitched primarily in by both Ricky Nolasco and Michael Tonkin. Tonkin left that one out over the plate. And Melky hit a rocket back up the middle.
Laurie, the batter. Drilled to left. Tonkin exasperated. He can't locate his pitches very well here. He retired the first 5 batters and now he's given up a couple of 2-out hits. Bring up Garcia.
I think that's considered a T-ball right there almost. You set it on the tee. It's right over the middle of the plate.
That was Paul Lynde right there on Hollywood Squares. He was always the center square, wasn't it? I mean, that was Paul Lynde.
You know how old you have to be to remember Hollywood Squares?
Was it Paul Lynde? And he succeeded Charlie Weaver, right? Who was the center square on Hollywood Square. You don't remember?
You know what? I don't. Was that a show?
Michael Tonkin out. Pitching change with 2 gone in the 7th. Lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Target Field suites are available for single game rental for groups of 16 to 150 plus. Enjoy a climate controlled experience and a fantastic view of the Twins game with food and beverage included. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 800-33-TWINS. Schedule your suite at Target Field. Fernando Abad coming in. Even though it's a right-handed hitting Avisail Garcia who will hit. Abad's been effective against both righties and lefties, and he needs to get this righty out.
Abad has been absolutely great for the Twins this year. Still does not have an ERA. And I think this is just a case where you keep this guy on track. You give him the inning or the out or the outs to keep him sharp, because he has been very sharp for the Twins.
Right-handers hitting .231 against them, 6 hits, 26 at bats. Left-handers have yet to get a hit against them, 0 for 13. And it looked like Tonkin was kind of running out of gas, but he wasn't able to locate anymore. We got 4 fly ball outs, a busted back grounder, and then 2 sharp singles, and now it's 2-0. The 8-20 start would tell you the season so far has been an abject failure, but within that there are some individuals who have done their part, and Abad is one of those. Might be the bright spot out of the bullpen this year, that and Ryan Presley. 2-0. Big man to get here with the Twins already down by 3, and there's a strike. Abad had to make the club on a make good contract out of spring training. He was added to the 40-man roster. Two and 1. Now 3 and 1 with Navarro on deck. 18 hits for the 2 teams, and 11 of them have come with 2 outs. Cabrera and Laurie with sharp singles against Tonkin. And now 3 and 1 from Abad. Slow breaking ball. And you can't blame Garcia if he's standing up there waiting for a fastball and he gets something that wouldn't get a speeding ticket.
You can sit on that pitch and still be out in front.
You had one of those too, didn't you?
Yeah, it wasn't quite that slow, but
3 and 2 now. The runners will take off. And time called at the plate.
Suzuki did not quite get what Abad wanted there. There was a sign given. There was a series of signs given there. And Kirk can't remember which one it was that he just started because he never nodded, never gave an indication that that's the one I want. So he's just going to call timeout and go through another sequence of pitches. Doesn't want to get crossed up as a catcher.
Slow breaking ball, 68 miles per hour. Who knows, if things were different, this might have been a spot where Casey Fiend would be brought in, or maybe Fiend would have been brought in the 6th inning. I think the Twins would prefer to not use Casey until his status is clarified by tomorrow. Full count again. Back-to-back changeups by Abad. And a fastball just missed the corner. And they're loaded up now for Deanna Navarro. After throwing a couple of upper 60s pitches, figures that Garcia would be frozen by a fastball, and Abad just missed the down and away corner. Navarro's 0 for 3, 2 ground balls and a strikeout. Trying to stay in this game. The White Sox left the bases full in the 5th. There's a strike on the outside corner. And now 1-1. Strike called on the outside corner, and Navarro looks away in disbelief. I've seen Navarro wear glasses.
I think he's worn them in the past, but they're a different look.
Yeah. Abad can't find the ball, and it's right at his feet. He was looking up in the air. He was looking east, west, north, and south, and he nearly stepped on the ball.
That's just a tough position for a pitcher. Ball comes back at him, and he has it in his glove, and he thinks the ball ricochets upwards. And he's looking all over the mound, all over the infield, and it's right, literally, like you said, at his feet. It's surprising he didn't step on it and turn his ankle.
3 hits and a walk now after the second out, and the lead is back to 4. Saladino with a chance to break the game wide open. Yeah, those are the type of glasses you wear if you're going to the library. Saladino with a single and a couple of fly balls to Sano in right. Base is still loaded. The Twins seeing the White Sox start to pull away here in the 7th. 1-1.
Trying times for the Twins. The defense kind of flat-footed, lethargic in the outfield.
Ball base hit up the middle. 4th 2-out hit for the White Sox, and this one will score 2. And it's 10-4.
Saladino does a great job of waiting and waiting and waiting and doing exactly what your hitting coach wants you to do. Drive the ball right back up the middle That was a great at-bat for Saladino. And the White Sox have kind of blown this one open. Just a soft little floater in there, but look at, he never, ever offered anything with his lower body, and that's picture-perfect swing.
White Sox with 4 singles and a walk. 2 of these runs charged to Michael Tonkin. And for the first time this year, Nevada's charged with a run. He came in, there's a ball hacked to third. Booth goes to the bag, and that ends the inning. 3 more for the White Sox. And they're leading 10-4. Awkward saying this, representing a team that's on the verge of going 8-21, but the Tigers got some problems. Losing tonight, now 4 in a row. They've been swept twice in 2 different series by the Cleveland Indians. And the Indians, the opponent in one of 2 series wins that the Twins had.
And the Tigers are on a tough road trip playing in Texas, and then they go into Washington and play the Nationals, and they're a pretty good team themselves.
Miguel Sano will lead things off. Nate Jones, the new Chicago pitcher, as Robin Ventura is going to try to patch the end of this game up 1 inning at a time with very likely 4 different relievers. Matt Latos wasn't very good, at least that's how I would characterize his effort. He fell behind hitters, gave up almost all of a 4-run lead. 1-0 to Sano.
Wasn't his best day, but it was a good day for him to pitch. Look at that play by Todd Frazier.
Sano retired. He's hit the ball on the button twice. And the White Sox knew they were getting a good player in Todd Frazier. I don't know that they realized he was that good defensively. He's made that play on his backhand side about 8 or 10 times already this year.
See the replay again. The ball was hit hard, but he's able to get to the ball and then see the ball into his glove. Plenty of time to turn and throw across the diamond. Just 2 errors on the year. That's a pretty good addition for a ball club that needed defense to improve.
Finished the series at Target Field with a sensational diving play to end the game. 1 strike to Plouffe, 0 for 3. 0 for 12 since his return to the lineup, but now 2 strikes. Tried to bunt his way aboard in the 4th and looked like a good bunt when he laid it down, but Latos made a nice play, took his time, threw it out.
You get in the box against Nate Jones, you better be ready. He can bring it. He's throwing the ball in the 90s, high 90s.
To Hopper, easier play for Frazier. Perfect throw across, 2 down. Carsoup.com trivia, and I'm going to go with Justin Morneau.
Oh, Joe Mauer.
Trevor Plouffe. The average is going down. Four nights so far.
Tonight's game's not going out.
Young Ho Park has had a very good night at the plate. 2 two-out singles, 2 runs scored. And he hit a blast to right center field that Austin Jackson made a superb play on. Not been a good game for the Twins beyond the score, 10-4. That's bad enough, but there's just been some adversity in the field again. Costly error. Bob knocking the ball down, and his inability to find the ball led to 3 runs that have helped open up the game here. There's the injury to the starting shortstop, Eduardo Escobar, tonight. A groin injury. That took him out of the game. Whether he'll be able to play again in this series.
Response.
Yeah, remains to be seen. 2-0 to Park. Oh! Park hit by a pitch. Clocked at 96 miles per hour.
Oh, that ball hit him.
Off the ribcage maybe. It was up and in. And from up here it looked more frightening than what it was.
I thought it was elbow pad. I thought it was up higher.
I did too.
His face.
Yep. Park has reached with 2 outs. Frightening moment. Appears that he is okay. It'll be interesting to see how teams pitch him in Korea. He achieved status, and you know what that's like. It's, you know, the Riptons of the world very rarely saw pitches up and in. Whether that should be the case or not, the premier players don't seem to get.
The Riptons saw a lot more than they see today.
Yeah,
I promise you that.
One of the great ironies of Kirby Puckett's situation is teams just didn't pitch him up and in that often, and then Dennis Martinez had one run up and in, and Kirby himself said, well, he was cheating a little bit on it. Caught him in the left cheekbone. 1-1 to Arcia. 2 walks and a long home run to left. Swing and a miss. And Park steals second. Navarro threw down, but Saladino wasn't really in the neighborhood of the base.
They give him a stolen base.
One and 2 to Arcia. Gets the count clarified with Todd Tishner. Bad swing on a breaking ball down in. Arcia strikes out to end the 8th. nice job because Trevor May's done a nice job. 8 walks, but 3 of those came in one outing. He's been really good and seems to be getting better.
I was going to say it's the fact that you look back in the recent past and things have improved. He was a little erratic early in the year. I thought he was trying to overthrow to some degree, but he's had good command and he's done a great job. And he can still throw it hard. 96, that fastball right there.
He has a 3-pitch mix, and he brought that into spring training. Swing and a miss. Change-up, breaking ball, and the mid-90s fastball. And a bid for a starting spot that never materialized for him. 2 strikes. Mid-90s heat and a 3-pitch strikeout.
It brings up an interesting conversation. Trevor May, I'm not really sure how much of an opportunity he had to make a starting rotation in spring training, but it was not because of what he couldn't do. It's because of his value in the bullpen. Paul Mahler has really gained a lot of confidence in this guy, and I don't know, maybe he could become a closer for this ball club at some point. He's got that kind of stuff.
I still maintain that the Twins bullpen is erratic as it's been. Had things set up the way it was intended, could have been a strength of this team. If you'd had Glenn Perkins pitching the way that he pitched in the first half last year, made the All-Star team, was nearly perfect in save situation. Jepson was really an addition from where the team was in the first half last year. Then you have May, Presley, and Abad.
Pretty good.
The components were there for a good bullpen. Then Perkins got hurt. And now Abreu is hit by a pitch. And May looks off, and warnings will be issued. Abreu questioning May. And this is all in response to what happened to Byung-Ho Park. Here come the benches.
I think this maybe is what this Twins team needs.
Well, the benches, it's interesting. The White Sox bench was headed in the direction of Abreu, I think, as much to keep him in the game and make sure nothing happened to him.
Well, here's the setup for you folks that might just be wondering what this is all about. Last half inning, Nate Jones threw one that ended up hitting Byung-Ho Park. And of course, the White Sox think this might be a retaliation pitch. Well, it might be. Who cares? That's part of baseball. And you've got to accept the fact that, hey, if your guy plunks our guy, we might just have to move somebody else off the plate. Now, let me explain something else. Abreu has been pitched away all game. So he hasn't seen anything in. And maybe he was moving in a little bit and didn't react. Trevor May could throw the ball in the mid-90s, so there's not a lot of reaction time there.
Everybody trying to settle down Abreu, and I just find it interesting that the white charge out of the Chicago dugout was toward their player, not toward Trevor May or even the Twins bench. I just think that they were concerned that here they are, and they got the best record in the league. They wanted to make sure that he didn't fly off the handle here, right in the ribs, which see, they're all headed towards Abreu. And there are a few Twins players there, including Park, in the middle of it all.
Well, if you don't understand as a player what this is all about, you know, right now Robin Ventura is going out and probably saying, why is my guy getting warned? I'm sure both managers were warned about the next time a guy throws at somebody. He's saying, you know, we can't go ahead and throw at a guy. Nate Jones didn't mean to hit him, but he did.
And now Ventura is tossed. His team is up by 6 runs.
Foolish time to get thrown out of the game. Very foolish.
And the umpires are mandated to do exactly what they did.
Exactly.
Player got hit in one half of an inning. There was some retaliation in the other half of the inning. And if the umpires don't do what they did here and issue warnings, then they hear about it tonight and all day tomorrow.
Tony La Russa was great at this part of the game. He felt that one of the opposing teams threw at one of his guys. It was almost mandatory that his pitchers get 2 guys.
May, to his credit, I think, stayed near the slope of the mound and didn't take a step toward Abreu.
Didn't even make a response.
Right, and I just, again, the White Sox players rushed out not to confront any of the Twins, certainly not May, because they ran right past him. They're trying to keep Abreu in the game.
The problem with this warning system now is Trevor May can't afford to go in at all.
Well, there's a pop-up. Bluth will call for it.
2 outs.
2 away.
But if it, just say that Todd Frazier was susceptible in, and you're a pitcher in this modern day business where warnings are given, and you got to try Todd Frazier in, and you miss off the plate, and you catch his knee, or you catch his pants, or you catch his shirt, you're thrown out of the game. And that's part of your repertoire to get a guy out.
Well, because nobody got hurt, I hope I don't get in trouble. I was glad to see what I saw. Nate Jones throws every bit as hard as Trevor May, and that was a fastball that came in and hit him somewhere in the upper half. It looked like Abreu got hit in the lower half or right above the belt line.
I'll be honest with you, Dick. I don't think either pitcher was thrown at either one of them.
You don't think Trevor May did? Okay.
No, but I'm glad he did. And I really believe that Abreu, because he's been pitched away the whole game, was not even thinking the ball in there.
1-1. And now a strike on the outside corner. But I don't understand Ventura's response, because if the umpires had not done what they did in warning both teams, then I don't know if they'd be fined or not, but they certainly would get a tersely worded email from whoever is in charge of umpires. Down and away.
No, you nailed that. They have to. It's part of their system. They just don't want the game to get out of hand. I mean, I pitched in an era where you might see 5 guys get hit in a game, and 4 of them on purpose.
Taken low, and it's 3-2. I think not only the Twins players, you saw Nunez talking with Abreu, trying to settle him down a little bit. He's one of the game's better players, and as you had identified him before, the best hitter on this White Sox team. They don't need him being suspended. A little flare to left and a base hit, and a throw coming to third base, and the ball hitting the runner. And Cabrera thought about second base. He'll hold up. First and third, 2 down. And now Brett Laurie will hit. Laurie with a couple of hits his last 2 times up after 2 strikeouts to start his night. Inside ball 1. And I'm warning you, Trevor May will be asked about it. He will, I'm sure, say all the right things. The ball got away, didn't mean to do it, and all that. You can choose to believe him or not, right? Because that's what he's going to say.
I'll say this on the air. There are 7 guys that I got that I can consciously say right now that I didn't miss, but after the game, I certainly thought the ball might have slipped out of my hand.
1-1. And strike 1 and 2. And the hope is, of course, that the way things played out here, the top and bottom of the 8th inning, and the warning, and the players ran out on the field, all that came back, that there'll be no carryover or anything tomorrow.
More importantly, I just hope Trevor May can get out of this inning without a run scored, because you don't want it to affect a pitcher you really kind of find out what they're made of in these situations. You know, there's a lot of guys that get all upset and kind of lose their game face when something like this happens. And you've just got to go back and almost be more of a bulldog.
Ball missing, and now it's 2-2.
Upset with himself about the location of that pitch. That was too good, and he knows it. Now he's got 2 strikes. Maybe he can fool him with a breaking ball, get him to chase, but Laurie will chase down and away.
He missed down and away at 96, and it's a full count. And there's a matter of the night game tomorrow, and everybody had an off day yesterday. Would you rather may not have to burn up too many pitches tonight because you might want to bring him back tomorrow? Absolutely. Full count to Laurie. Runner at first to take off with 2 out. And there's the end of the inning. A spirited inning, to say the least. Abreu got drilled by a mid-90s fastball. But no damage done on the scoreboard, at least, and we head to the 9th inning. The White Sox in front. It's been another bad night for the Twins as we head to the 9th inning. And Kurt Suzuki will lead things off for the Twins. Eddie Rosario will follow against Scott Carroll. Suzuki, Rosario, and Danny Santana. The Twins find themselves down 6 here going to the last inning. If they get 6, it won't be the last inning. Strike 1. Suzuki with a pair of hits, tried to bunt his way aboard, popped it up, caught by Navarro. Tried to bunt for hits 3 times. A ground out, a pop out, and a foul ball over the screen. Tap foul, 2 strikes.
Funny how baseball has done everything in the world to control no contact. taking away slides. They protected the catchers. They basically prevented pitchers from throwing at guys. They don't want that, and yet saw the energy in the crowd.
Yeah,
the crowd gets into that stuff.
And then Ventura fanned the flames by getting ejected.
By being silly.
I would imagine his contention was that May should have been tossed right away, but generally players aren't tossed unless or until there's been
anybody.
And there weren't warnings issued prior to that.
So what he's saying is we can throw at one guy and plug somebody, so you should warn both sides after we hit a guy. That's not right.
One and two. And now 2 and 2. And tonight, Twins haven't had a lead. They were behind 5-1 and got to within 5-4, but then the White Sox added 2 runs in the 5th, 3 in the 7th. All of them, all those extra runs scoring on 2-out hits. And that'll be the end of the night. Should be the end of the night for Carroll, isn't it? Nope, they're saying it was an off-speed pitch and not intentional. So Carroll hits Suzuki.
Suzuki being a pro didn't do anything. Now there would be guys that might scream and yell and get things all started again. Kurt just rolls his hip, takes one off the buttocks, and shoot, that's the least of his problems. He's had more aches and pains blocking balls than he's ever going to get there.
So what do we think? That was a changeup, and because it was a changeup, that home plate umpire didn't deem it intentional, and now a line drive and Abreu with the catch. Suzuki's doubled off. 2 down. Time now for What's Next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Twins face Matt Latos tonight. For whatever reason, they absolutely owned Chris Sale last year. They'll face him tomorrow and get their second look at Jose Quintana on Sunday. Brought to you by CenturyLink. Here's Danny Santana. Irvin Santana will start tomorrow for the Twins against Sale.
Irvin did not go on any rehab, so he'll kind of go out there cold turkey.
1-0. And now 2-0. Santana started in center field and then was moved to the infield, taking over at second base. And Eduardo Escobar left the game with a groin strain. Two and one. White Sox had lost a couple of games in a row. 1 out away from win number 20. The White Sox at 20-10, the best record in the American League, and the Twins on May 6th have already lost their 21st game of the year. Tom Hanneman, this road trip started on an encouraging note as the Twins beat Dallas Keuchel, but now another road losing streak extending to 3 games tonight.